So without a doubt, this is going to have a very different vibe from last week's vlog. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. I am starting this week's reading vlog on Thursday. It's Thursday the 22nd of July, and I had plans to start this vlog yesterday, and then I got a message on my phone from the NHS app telling me that I need to isolate for 7 days. So I was a little bit thrown off, a little bit panicked. I have done a couple of tests since, one yesterday and one today, and they both come back negative. So no symptoms, absolutely fine so far. Hopefully will continue to be absolutely fine. Obviously, my last vlog I said I went to London for the weekend and everything felt very safe. It did feel very safe, and I still think that hopefully nothing's going to come of this. From what I can gather from sort of the data that it does tell you about, like when you came into contact and things like that, the fact that nothing's come back from me scanning in at the theatre, nobody that I went to the theatre with has got the message either. I think that it's probably more to do with the train journey down there, but obviously on the train journey down I was also wearing a mask, and there was like the back of the seats between us, we were all facing in like the same direction, so nobody was facing each other. So I'm pretty sure the app just doesn't take into account all the other precautions, so fingers crossed everything should be fine. To be honest, if you see in this vlog, everything probably is fine because this is due to go up after my isolation is supposed to finish. But that obviously does kind of change my plans a little bit. I actually had plans this weekend for my sister to come and visit. It was supposed to be the first time she was coming to visit since last year, and we were going to have a sort of belated birthday celebration for her because it was a birthday a few weeks ago. And obviously that now has gone out the window because I'm isolating. Although I haven't got symptoms, it does mean that I'm not allowed to have visitors to the house, so the only people in the house are the people that I live with at the minute. I'm still at work, I'm working from home for the week, but that does mean that I have a little bit more time because obviously my sort of break times aren't spent chatting to other people in the canteen area. I'm also not having to travel to and from work, so it does just mean that I have a little bit more time, and as I said, because my plans for the weekend have been cancelled, I have a little bit more time. So what I'm determined to do is to finish my TBR for this month. I have 3 books. I think I said 2 at the end of my last vlog. I keep forgetting what is actually on my TBR because a lot of it, well, because some of it isn't physical this month, so I keep forgetting they exist. But basically I have so far read 3 books this month. I had 6 books on my TBR, so I have 3 left, which is Instructions for Dancing, which I have started. I'm about 40 pages in. I'm enjoying it so far. It's not grabbed me as quickly as either of Nicola Yoon's other 2 books. Everything I read very quickly in one sitting. Obviously that was a while ago, so I don't know how I'd feel about that now. But then Sun Is Also a Star I have reread, and I really like that one, and this one just isn't grabbing me quite as quickly, but it might have just been I was trying to read it yesterday and, like I said, a little bit stressed, but should hopefully be able to get into this one from here on in. I then have Witches Steeped in Gold, which I have the physical book and I also have the audiobook because coming out of the reading slump, I know with it being a fantasy, it might still be a little bit of a struggle for me to read. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to sort of combine the 2, and that should help me power through it. That's probably going to be the weekend plan when I have a bit more undivided time to read. And then I also have Rosaline or Rosaline Palmer Takes a Cake, which is a sort of adult fluffy romance, I believe, so that should be a fairly quick read. Also it's an ebook, and I find ebooks quite quick to read as well, so that one I'm planning to sort of jump into either when I finish this one, if I manage to finish this one quite quickly, or sort of after the weekend when I finished Witches Steeped in Gold, or maybe in between. It might be a nice little palette cleanser if Witches Steeped in Gold is a little bit hard to get into. I have been hearing sort of mixed things about that now. When it first was sort of talked about, it seemed to be all very positive, and then obviously everyone's received it in book subscription boxes over the last like couple of months, and the feedback I'm getting from there seems to be more negative. So I'm going in with an open mind, but also I have, like I said, got this sort of like mitigation plan to make sure that I can power through it. And because, as I've discussed before, I do not like DNFing things, so hopefully it won't come to that. Again, I kind of don't want to go into it with the mindset that I even will, so that's why I'm going into it with, no, I'm going to get through this because I have ways to get through it. But yeah, that is my update. So not going to be the most interesting vlog in terms of me taking you out anywhere because I literally can't leave the house, but I still have things to do this weekend. I need to actually film next month's TBR because that's due up the weekend after, so I need to get that filmed this weekend so that I have time to edit it during the week. So that is going to be Saturday's plans, and then after that I think I'm baking. I always bake when I'm in the house, and I mean there's potential that I could try and do some sort of sprints at some point. I don't know, we'll see. But yes, I just thought, I realised that I'd never actually filmed like an introduction to this, so I thought I would do that now while I'm on a quick break, and I will catch up with you guys in a little while. Hopefully I'll have some more thoughts on instructions for dancing. I haven't even told you guys what this is about, so I'll do that in the next clip because I really do need to get back to work now. So I feel like I'm falling into a reading slump and I can't decide if it is my issue or if it's the book's issue. Hi everyone, it is now Friday morning. I literally woke up like half an hour ago. I'm about to go downstairs and get some coffee before I start work. But I thought I would remember to give you guys an update because I did try and read last night. I was watching some sprints that were on Jade's Patreon, but I did not get much read at all. I will say that these sprints were not the most reading heavy sprints. There ended up being lots of other people invited on and there was a lot of chatting, but to be honest I did not really mind because I was not particularly wanting to pick up my book. And like I said, I don't know if that's still a me issue because as I've spoke about before, I've been in a reading slump, but I did then finish like 3 books in the space of 4 days last week, so I thought, oh, maybe I'm coming out of that. So now I'm starting to question whether or not it is the book's issue because I'm not loving it so far. I don't dislike it, there's just nothing to particularly make me want to read it either, if that makes sense. So I realise that I haven't actually spoke about what this book is at all yet, so let me just explain. This follows a character called Evie who's feeling a little bit disillusioned with sort of love and romance. Her parents have just split up. She found out that her dad was cheating on her mother and it's not left her in a great place. She's decided that she's had enough with romance. She's had enough with reading romance books, which was one of her sort of main interests before, and she's just had enough with it in general. She doesn't believe in it anymore. So what then starts to happen is that whenever Evie sees a couple kiss, she sees the entire sort of course of their relationship. She gets like a premonition almost of the beginning of their relationship when they met, the kiss that she's seeing at the moment, and then also the end of their relationship in whatever form that takes. And that is making her a little bit more disillusioned with love, it seems, as well, because obviously she's a teenager, it's set, she's in high school, she's seen a lot of breakups because high school, and basically now she's trying to get rid of this power, and she's linked it all to this one particular dance studio. So she started going there to take lessons, and while she's there she's ended up being paired with this character called X, who is a very sort of happy-go-lucky character. He basically has a role where he has to say yes to every opportunity in life. I assume it's going to be about sort of him opening her eyes up to sort of the possibilities a little bit more. I'm guessing they're kind of just starting to get to know each other at the point that I'm about 100 pages in, and like it's fine, like it's okay, but there's nothing that's grabbing me with it. I feel like with Nicola Yoon's other 2 books, there was things in the story that actually grabbed me a bit quicker, whereas this one, like, the writing's fine, it's what I'd come to expect from her, but there's nothing in the story that's grabbing me, and the writing isn't, and her writing isn't sort of that type of writing where even if the plot's not great, I'll still be hooked by it. It might get better as the story gets into it more, but right now I'm just not feeling the inclination to pick it up. So hopefully that'll change. Hopefully I'll be able to. I mean, I've got about 100 and I think it's 270 something. No, 200, it's about 280 pages. So I've got about 180 left. So I could technically do that tonight. Like I said, it's Friday. So I'm at work today, but then I'm off obviously for the weekend. So I would like to try and get this finished tonight so that then for Saturday, Sunday, I can focus on something else and just try and really get out of this reading slump. I've read 3 books so far this month. We're on the 23rd of the month now, and recently I've been reading like 8 to 12 books a month, so I'm definitely behind schedule. And yeah, I just really want to push through it. I can't figure out why I can't concentrate on things, so I'm just going to try and push through as much as possible. on a happier note and updates from my sort of isolating, I literally am sat here with the COVID test I've taken at the side of me and it's all negative, so we're fine. I've still just stuck in the house, but you know, hopefully that means I get to read. So it is now Sunday and today is apparently the day of getting stuff done. So I've just finished Instructions for Dancing, finally. I haven't put it through ColourPile yet, but I'm pretty sure it's a 3-star. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great either. Kind of just didn't care, to be honest. Like, it's a romance, but I didn't really care about the romance in it. And to say the entire sort of theme of it is about her sort of seeing the lives of these couples when she sees them kiss, and about how she's obviously sort of focusing on the negative and focusing on the end because that's where her mindset is, but it's about her sort of discovering the love in it. And I just didn't really care. Like I said, the love between these two characters felt just very like you didn't really see it build too much, which you just kind of kept seeing. It actually skipped past a lot of the moments when they were kind of developing their feelings for each other. It's like, oh, because now it's a few weeks later and now this has happened. And yeah, I just didn't really find myself too interested in it, which is really disappointing because I liked both Nicola Yoon's last 2 books, and particularly The Sun Is Also a Star. It's really good, and I feel like they just talked about bigger issues rather than just being a sort of contemporary romance. There was a lot more to them, whereas this felt like it wasn't. Also, there was like a mystical element in this, and I don't think that was handled very well. Like, there was no explanation for it whatsoever, and it was sort of forgot about for a lot of the time and then just very conveniently picked back up when she wanted it to be. And yeah, it was fine. It was just, I'm never going to reread it, but you know, I'm glad I finished it at least. I am now going to move on to reading another fluffy contemporary, but that's because I want something that I can hopefully read in like a day or so. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to read Rosalind Palmer Takes a Cake, which is an arc that I have by Alexis Hall, who wrote Boyfriend Material that I read last year. So hopefully I'll enjoy this. It's a fluffy contemporary set around like a bake-off type situation, as in like the TV show Great British Bake Off, which I love. So yeah, hopefully I'll enjoy this one. And that is basically the plan today, is to try and read all of this if I can. Currently 12:15. I have the Olympics on the background. I do have some sprints on with Jade, although she's just been kicked off of her internet, so we'll see what happens with those. And yeah, I'm gonna go and make myself some coffee and then I'm gonna go get back to reading, and that is basically all I have planned for the day, is just read. We're gonna finish this TBR. I am determined. Okay, really quick update to say that I am just about 80 pages in to Rosalind Palmer Takes a Cake. I'm at week 2, which is apparently pie week, and I'm loving this book so far. It's very fun, very quick, easy read, and it's all about like a baking show. It's very, very much Bake Off. So as somebody who is a massive fan of Bake Off, I'm loving this. It's kind of the quick, easy read that I need right now. So I'm gonna get back to it. Update, I am now about 130 pages in. I'm up to week 3, which is bread week. Still very much enjoying this book. I'm not entirely sure the direction that it's going in because there's sort of a meet cute at the beginning. So yeah, actually let me give you a bit of a synopsis. All I've said is Bake Off. So basically it's about a single mother who had her kid when she was 19, had dropped out of uni because she got pregnant, and life hasn't necessarily gone in the direction that she thought it would go in. So she's entering this baking competition because there's prize money at the end of it, and she's hoping to be able to sort of turn her and her daughter's life around a little bit. And right at the beginning, she has some trouble actually getting to the baking show, to do with missed trains and then cancelled trains and all that sort of thing. And basically there's a meet cute with this guy, and it seems at the beginning like it's just going to be a romance between those two. But to be honest, that guy's not that interesting. Like, there's something about him that's definitely a little bit off. But then there is also another guy who she's kind of also had a bit of a meet cute with, who's lurking in the background and keeps popping up a little bit too much for it to just be coincidence. So I'm assuming it's going to sort of change directions and go towards him later on in the book. And I'm liking that idea because he's a much more interesting character. I also like that this book is queer, so the main character is bisexual. Her best friend is her ex-girlfriend, from sort of when they were at school, and that's been sort of a topic of discussion about sort of reactions to that as well, and sort of just how that is a part of her life, which is a nice thing to have in there. And yes, very, very much enjoying this book so far. It's nothing spectacular, like, don't get me wrong, it's cheesy as hell and just the light and fluffy contemporary that I needed right now. And like I said, because this programme is definitely so much Bake Off, it's just really fun to read because it's one of my favourite programmes. I can't wait for it to come back on this year. So yeah, I'm going to go back to reading about Bread Week now. We've had cakes, we've had pies, got bread now, so I'm assuming we've got biscuits coming up after this. I like that it is actually set up in each of the weeks exactly like Bake Off is, and they have a blind bake competition, which is a technical challenge, and then they have like there's some sort of title for what is essentially the showstopper. The only thing they don't have is a signature challenge, so they have to do 2 rather than 3. But you know, they have to make some changes, so it's not just entirely Bake Off, even though it definitely is. I was correct. Week 4 is Biscuit Week. I'm still very much enjoying this. We're definitely going down the sort of the romance that is being set up is not the romance that is going to end up at the end route. I am about 200 pages in now. I'm not going to finish this today, but I should hopefully have it finished tomorrow. So July reading seems to be back on track. Very happy that I feel like this was a good choice to pick up today. I edited this entire vlog today, and one, noticed that I needed to film a wrap-up final clip, but also realised I have not had a scrap of makeup on throughout this entire vlog, so I've just looked tired throughout a lot of it. But I am officially at the end of my isolation period now. It is Tuesday evening and tomorrow I'm back at work. I get to leave the house at midnight tonight. I'm almost tempted just to run outside the front door at midnight, just to be like, yay, I'm free. But yes, I'm fine. I've had no symptoms. I've done many a tests and I did not have COVID, which is great, but better to be safe than sorry. Rather isolate for 10 days and make sure that if I did have it, I wasn't passing it on to anybody else. So yeah, not much sort of interesting content. Like it didn't even really film much. I don't think I filmed a single clip outside of my bedroom all week. But I did do some reading and I did talk you guys through that, so I'll just do a little bit of a wrap up now of what I read. So I read Instructions for Dancing first by Nicola Yoon. I would go and grab it, but I literally can't get to the bookcase right now. But yes, I read Instructions for Dancing. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I'm already forgetting it and I only finished it like 3 days ago. So it was fine. I've read it. I don't need to read it again. Like I said, the magic in it wasn't really explained, it was just kind of there and didn't really need to be there. And then the actual love story I didn't really care about too much. So it was fine, but yeah, 3 stars. I haven't actually told you, but I finished reading Rosaline Palmer Takes a Cake now, and I gave that one 4 stars. That was a very good book, even though, like, objectively, probably not, but for what I needed at the time, it was a very good book. It was just fun, although actually there was a lot more depth to it than I expected to be. There was a lot of talk about people's sort of treatment of bisexual people and the sort of fetishization of that, and that was a really sort of interesting narrative to have in there. There was also a lot of talk about sort of life choices and sort of different routes that people might go down. So the main character got pregnant at 19 and has raised a child as a single mom, and so there's a lot of talk about sort of whether or not that was the right decision and sort of how people might view her because of that. And yeah, there was, like I said, it was a lot deeper than I expected it to be. Yeah, I went into it thinking it was a romance, and now I wouldn't really call it like that. There was a romance in it, but I think a lot of the sort of just conversations about, like I said, life choices and things like that, and directions that your life might go in that you don't expect, were actually the main part in it. The romance was quite small. It was cute, and I liked the romance in it, but it wasn't the main thing. But I very, very much enjoyed that book. Like I said, it's 4 stars because obviously it's not a 5-star read, but it was great for what it needed to be at the time. Also, what's really fun is that there was actual like recipes at the back of it based on some of the ones that they'd baked throughout it. So that was really cute. And I have started reading something new today. I've started reading Witches Steeped in Gold. This is the last book I need to read on my TBR. I am now very confident that I will actually finish this before Saturday, Sunday, last day of the month, because I am on page 117 already. And I am listening to the audiobook of it. That's probably part of the reason why I'm flying through it quite so fast. It's about 500 pages long, so I do need to be listening to the audiobook to make sure I finish it. It's okay. Like, yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it as well. It feels like there's a lot happening, but also the storyline feels very simple. Like, I know where we're actually at. So essentially there are two main characters in this. There's Araya and Jasmine. So Araya is the heir to sort of an overthrown dynasty, and Jasmine is the daughter of the woman who overthrew the dynasty, and she herself is sort of rebelling against her mother. So they both kind of had the same enemy. They haven't actually really met yet at this point in the book, but I assume they will. Like, I assume them both rebelling against the leader, the Doyenne she's called. I assume that will come together as it goes along. But at the minute it feels like I know where both of the main characters are. I know what's happened with that, but at the same time I have no clue what's happening, because there's just a lot of characters kind of thrown at you, and a lot of sort of mythology, I would say, thrown at you, but without really explaining it. It's just sort of said in passing. There's just a lot of like terminology said in passing without really explaining it, and I don't think it needs to be there, because I feel like the storyline is actually quite simple, but there's just a lot being said that makes me think I'm more confused than I actually am, if that makes any sense. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's okay. I don't know if it's necessarily a series that I'll continue with after this book, but I am glad I picked it up just to sort of see what it's like, really. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I'm definitely rambling as per usual. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. I know this has been a very sort of low-key vlog. I mean, last week I got to travel somewhere. This week I've literally been stuck in my house. But thank you if you did stick with me through this. At least I managed to get myself out of my reading slump, I think. And my next video should actually be my TBR for August. And spoiler alert, it is not going to be the easiest for me, but I am also very, very excited about it. So yes, that should be up on Saturday. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.